Ever wonder what happens when you stop pretending and feel? I am Amanda Andrade, founder of Mastering Relationships Academy and author of If You Allow It, You Can Feel It. This is the Journey Unscripted podcast, real conversations, unscripted moments, and the emotional truths that connect us all. On today's episode, meet Chris Dyer, a Peruvian Canadian visual artist based in St. Petersburg, Florida, a traveler across cultures and dimensions. His work reimagines the world through a vision of oneness, blending skateboard graphics, visionary art, street murals, and defined art. Chris is a true bridge builder across artistic worlds. His work has been featured in museums globally, including the Bob Marley Museum, Pratt Museum, and the Ethnon, along with 5 published books, from selling out a 5,555-piece NFT collection to building the Galactic Gang community. His art is ultimately a reflection of his own spiritual journey. Thank you, Chris, for being here with us. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be
Yeah,
on your show.
yeah, absolutely. And I would say that your spiritual journey, it's colorful for the times that I have the opportunity to be with you and to be in your house. Can you just share where the colorful inspiration came from and how did all of that started, please?
Yeah, I don't know. I like colors. I don't know, like if that comes from a place or just that I grew up in the 80s and then the 90s, or maybe I'm from a dimension that's very colorful. I don't know. Every time I do psychedelics, well, not every time it gets colorful. Sometimes I trip on black and white, but it seems like when you get to the better parts of the spiritual realms, it gets quite colorful, and colors to me just seem to allure positive spirit, which is what I'm trying to channel through my work and through my being. And I don't know, just ground a little bit of that interdimensional vibes into planet Earth, or at least in my life.
And it's beautiful. And talking about like dimension, how has been for you to navigate it on multiple dimensions and to bring all of that knowledge and anchoring in this lifetime. If you can just put it in a words or like visual to share with us.
Well, when I get out of this physical dimension through plant medicine work, it just feels like this place is not that important. It's cool. It's a nice bubble of reality. We can come and play and be humans, use a spacesuit of a human and like, woo, look at me. I'm drinking a coffee. What? And, doing an interview on a computer, like, and all the things we do in this world that for us is like, well, that's all there is. But once you get out of it and you get out of time and space where all of this already finished in a way, and we're already like, oh, that was amazing. It's almost like it's outside of that eternity place because it's still entrapped in time. Um, Hopefully, well, at least in my case, I get to see that I'm a spirit, and spirit is part of the over soul spirit or God or whatever you want to call it, that is just fractally expanding and expressing itself in a multitude of ways, including being a physical human on planet Earth right now. So when you see things, when you come back from your psychedelic journeys and you go back to being a human, you're like, okay, what does that mean? And how am I reflecting to that way of existing? And it makes me feel less attached. Hopefully not too detached where I don't give a fuck about anything and then I can just like do whatever good or bad and is ain't nothing to me. I still want to be engaged in this reality. I think I'm to this reality to be detached and be like, well, I can fuck off and I'll be fine just because I'm a eternal soul of God. I don't know. There's a purpose why God erased our memories on re-entry when you become a human. It's like, oh, I'm not God. I'm not spirit. I'm just a fucking smart animal that evolved over years. And we're just, being dumb and destroying ourselves. And that's the plot and narrative that the whole society gives us, except for some spiritual paths and religions, but those get corrupted too. And then they say like only our box is the right box and no other boxes are spirit. So anyways, this is a confusing place and everybody wants to tell you what reality is. of this dimension. And when I come back, it's like, cool, so many options here. Great. May everybody live in their own perspective as long as it's making you happy. Many people take perspectives that actually don't make them happy, but that's on them. I'm not here to convince anybody on what's the right or wrong way of thinking. I think there's too much of that these days. They're going around telling you, like, you got to think like me. You got to say what I'm saying. You got to believe in my thing and my box and this and the other. And if you don't do it, you're wrong. That's not for me. I can share my experiences and where I'm at and my personal beliefs, but I'm not gonna try to tell anybody like my way is the way and your way is not valuable or valid. So yeah, I guess being a psychonaut, not I do it a lot, like I do it like a couple times a year if I'm being called to do some work and rebalance myself or be reminded of who I really am. What I bring back is just like chill, Chris, live your life, do your best, surrender into what the universe and spirit and God or whatever is bringing to you. It all has purpose. It all leads to growth. Go along with it, even if it's not fun. And sure, try your best. But like fighting life and what life brings you doesn't seem like a very fun way to go about it. So I'm just here trying to get in my flow, doing my art, sharing good vibes, trying to lift up people while I'm here. Hopefully leave enough art and culture behind to feel like I've done a contribution as a, temporary human, and then go back home into the oneness of infinity, eternity, where it's always good, but in that always good, there's less contrast because, it's almost like being in a place where there's also shittiness kind of makes you appreciate the good times extra. So yeah, this is a place with great contrast and I appreciate it and I play with it and I do the most with physical reality while not being so attached to it that I'm drowning in the bad parts of it. I don't want it to own me. I want to be part of it and add to it, but it doesn't have to like own me either.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I can relate it to that as well. As I've been through in the journey, right? Through the plant medicine and through psychedelics. And for me, whenever I had the calling, the most challenge part was to integrate what we access in the spiritual realm, in the world, to the physicality, to the matter, right? Because, like you say, we are spiritual beings and experiencing a human experience. And how to integrate, right? I was asking myself that, and I can see time to time as we were talking about it, how you do integrate it there into to your reality. And then we have another question about that. What is reality? Because we can access different realities through our consciousness. And whenever we have those contrasts of it, that we are able to acknowledge, not to compare, to acknowledge that is anger, but also that is love. What do I choose between those two realities? Because they are part of the same spectrum. That's what gives us the opportunity to transform the knowledge that we access or the wisdom that we access on these alternate states to integrate into to our physical body, because the body has such a great intelligence that we cannot even imagine. And so that from there on, we are able to make better choices, because it's all about awareness. Once I get the awareness, I'm able to choose and I am able to integrate it to my new way of being and to keep evolving, keep expanding. And like you just mentioned, why do we forget about all of this? Because we've been here many, many times, many lifetimes, right? For me, and like we are talking about truth, your truth is not my truth, as my truth is not your truth, right? We are here collectively remembering who we are. And as we can remember who we are through our physical experiences, we are able to come together, like in this conversation, to share, to add value on people's life. And adding values on people's lives is totally different than imposing my perspective about my experiences. The same with you. And whenever we had that consciousness, we are able to navigate life much better. We are able, just like you were saying, to detach from the matter, yet still feeling functioning, to keep going and to keep thriving. And that's exactly what I share with my clients, right? Because I do integrations for them whenever they go in a psychedelic journey or whatever they do in the plant medicine. They come at me to do the integration, which is the most important part. And so I support and I hold this space for them. So this way they can just acknowledge, not compare like we are talking about it, but just to see the contrast and to make better choices. And then they can keep going because the entire goal of this experience, and I can be wrong, it is to shift the survival mood to the thriving. And once we shift that awareness, we thrive in life. We start to experience life totally different. And just like you mentioned, you do your best each and every day because being at our best give us the opportunity of feeling the humility to learn about what life means. And so I found fascinated all of these opportunity that we all have when we allow ourselves to that, and we can exchange, we can just support each other journeys throughout life. And I would like to ask you from this link, right? When was the point for you that you had like your spiritual awakening, and when you shift the survival mood to thriving in your life? How does that happen?
Spiritual awakening. Feel like I always was spiritual since I was a kid, but you don't know it. And then you try to talk with the adults about it, and they are giving you religion to deal with your quest for God. And then you go to church. I would go to church by myself as a kid. Because my parents weren't interested, not much. But they're telling me like, oh yeah, God's in Catholicism because that's all, you know, that's what like everybody is doing in Peru. And I didn't really find God in the church, but I kept on trying, but I was still doing bad things. So I don't think it was like working. You're talking about thriving versus survival, and I don't know if like that's like my like the mission of spirituality is to thrive. I don't know, like not that I disagree with you, but that's not how I see it. I see thriving is like something that happens once you connect to the flow of spirit, which is, spirit expresses itself in good, bad, whatever. I feel when you're like leaning into the negative sides of life, the fighting with others, the division, the sins, stealing, killing, anything that's divisive is a contractive energy of like, oh, I don't have enough, so I gotta like grab what I can and push things away and, be victorious in this fight. While the true essence of the ultimate true God is one that it's pure love, and it's like this expansive, like abundance. Like God is abundant to the point of creating more than we could even imagine exists. So I'm trying to connect with God, not so I can become abundant and make a bunch of money, though I welcome that too. And I think I deserve it. And may we all be abundant and have all the money and resources we need to live a blessed life of, creativity and spirituality and all the good things. But yeah, like I'm trying to be like love as to be of service to humanity, which is myself, because we're all one. Something that I've learned time and time again, whenever I go into the ayahuasca plant medicine space and I'm observing like, oh, what's up with this fight? What is always revealed to me, like, oh, that's also you. But that you is living a different life and you're providing each other different experiences that helps both of you grow. So no matter, even if it looks like your enemy, they're doing you a favor by creating this contrast where you get to choose like, oh, fuck that person, I'm going to fight back, or I'm going to like love that person regardless of the bad vibes they're throwing at me, because I believe that that is me and I want to give myself love. So that's how I go about it. And I think from that energy is where like we connect to the spiritual abundance of reality, waiting for us. And some days I do better than other days. There's also like, the negative energy is like fear or lack, or I'm not deserving or not worthy of maybe having money or abundance or success, like, I'm not good. So why should I like vibe goodness to myself? So first we gotta like love ourselves. Like what I get from the other side is like, first just love yourself. It's not a selfish thing. It's not this like self-centered, like, oh, I love myself. I'm egocentric, egotistical, self-centered, etc. All these negative things. Because once you love yourself, then you put your guard down. Because if you love yourself, it doesn't matter if other people come and say, like, hey, you're a piece of shit. It's like, well, cool, that's great that you think that, but like, I don't think so. I know myself from the inside out, and I love myself and I accept myself. And even if I was a piece of shit, I'll still love myself through it, and I'll try my best not to. But like, I also will have compassion and understanding and surrender to wherever I'm at right now. So once your defenses are down, you can also go and love others, including the people who are jerks to you. And I'm not saying go and become best friends with the people who are like being not cool in your life, but you can also not, you don't have to hate them. You can be like, oh, that sucks that we're not aligning, but hey, all the best to you in your process. I'm going to do me. See you never. But I'll see you outside of this bubble reality once we're all together in eternity, and we'll high five each other and be like, wow, that's so cool. We provided each other these experiences of growth, and thank you for that. So I try to inside thank my enemies. If I thank them with my mouth, I think they're going to get more pissed off because they're going to think I'm like fake or just antagonizing them in some way. I don't know. I try to be nice, and people get mad at me. Like people who attack me and then I'm nice at them, they get like double mad. So I'm just like, cool, whatever, man.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, and I can send the link because I did not put that in a way that was like we are talking about, like communicating, right? And so, awesome.
I'm not hearing this last part.
I love
I've
it.
I've transformed. I'm just joking. I'm still here. Sorry, what's your question?
It was just not just you reintegrated what I wanted to say, and then you just, as you're talking, was just clear. My intention behind was not like striving to survive, was more like from disconnected to connected, because it's more appropriated that way, because we feel disconnected from who we are. And whenever I was asking you when did that started, the journey and all of that, and as you were explaining about the going to the church and all of that, looking for that. So you were seeking for that connection once and again with source, right? That for me, source is everything. We all are source. We all together in this lifetime, just like you were saying, like it's the oneness, wholeness. And if we all one, we are just experience life in a different bodies. And once we get that connection again, like connected with source, that it's all that is, and we are able to extend that love first to ourselves, like we're saying, because we are not taught how to love ourselves. We were not taught about the spirituality, which is different than religion. Religion, it's created by the man, and it's with the intention to create a separation, created the chaos that we are living in unconsciously or consciously. And all of those belief systems that is injected on us, that you are not good enough, that you are not worthy, that you're not going to be successful, a loser, and all of that. And first off, we need to define, and from like the English standard or any kind of definition that the human go through, what is success, what is peace, what is love. And we all seeking for success that comes in form of love, peace, recognition, freedom, comes in many different forms. And why our mind keeping telling us that we are not successful, keeping telling us that we need to buy the car for you to feel successful, for you to feel abundant. And for me, throughout this journey, abundance for me, as right now I had that experience, it is I have everything that I need when I need it. So this way, source knows what I needed in that moment. But because I've been through and a lot of reframing of belief systems and traumas from the past and all of that that I choose unconsciously, first in the spirituality, right, in the spiritual realm, and then come down to earth. I unconsciously choose those traumas to grow. To get the best out of. And if it was not like my sexual abuse, my emotional abuse and physical abuse, I could not be who I am nowadays, because it's exactly that, to remember who I am, to serve. And once we are connected with God, Jesus, because we all have all of those masters and guidance and spiritual and like higher selves guiding us, whenever we allow that and we are surrendering to that force, beautiful things start to happen in our lives. And we feel so connected. And just like you're saying, we are able to extend that love for people that don't like us. But guess what? If they don't like us, if they are projecting into to us, because they are doing that to themselves as well, but they are not even aware. And the only difference between us, right, is just the awareness. That's it. The awareness that we have, because I was able to remember who I am, reconnected, and now I'm able to extend that love. And so they don't understand, they stop projecting, and that's okay, because it's just their timing for them to get connected again. And that's why we have that understanding intellectually, but we have the compassion, which comes from the heart, which comes from like the spirit. And we are able just to embrace, like you're saying, I'm not going to be in here with you that wants to do like bad things with me and hugging you and kissing you. But other than that, I will pray for you to have awareness, for you to keep going in your life, because like we know, we are one. And that's the beauty of life. And when we can share that with others, it's just a bliss. And that's also what success means to me, sharing knowledge with others, awareness, so then they can have a better choices in their life. That's on everybody free will, and from that they do whatever. It's not on my own anymore, it's them. So how has been like for you to see, to look at back, or still looking, because we're still expanding this journey, and to embrace all of your success? How has been that experience for you?
Embracing my success.
Define success for you first.
Yeah, I don't know. Success is defined every single day. To me, it's just doing what I want. If I get to do what I want, which I do, I'm successful. If I can pay my bills doing my art, that's success. But even if I wasn't paying my bills, and even if I was failing at the world and I'm still doing my art and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm cool with that too. Like I'll be successful there also. I don't think I answered your last question properly. I think I left it at me being a kid going to church, but being a spiritual. But after that, I've searched for spirituality in different ways, and not being negative at points in my life. I was in a street gang in Peru, and then when I moved to Canada, I was a big drunk skateboarder destruction monster. Then I went tree planting, and I found a new kind of spirituality in nature and through psychedelics. And that was like through books that were not religious, and finding new paths of finding whatever God was or spirit. And then I was part of a meditation path, and I meditated myself tons over those years, and that kind of run its course. I still meditate every now and then, but that path in itself just kind of like lost attraction. And if I'm not attracted, I'm just not going to do it, because I got to do what I feel I need to do at that time, and I keep on changing, and that new version of me needs different things. There was a point where I did not do psychedelics for over 5 years, including weed, and I was just a married artist, and that's good enough, doing paintings. And then when that first marriage came to an end, I got into ayahuasca. Not that I was trying to get into anything new or a new path, but it just kind of like pulled me in. And then I saw like, oh, this is a very helpful medicine for me right now. And I did that for many years. I still will do a ceremony if it comes my way and I feel inclined to go through that experience. But I certainly slowed down the last few years, because I kind of like got generally to the point where I'm like, okay, I get the point. I've cleaned out enough. I've integrated enough to know where I'm at and what I want to do. And I'm like a, you know, man in its late 40s, and I know what I want and how to do it. And when things change, I just try to not to freak out and move forward with whatever is new. And who knows what's in the future. But by now, I feel like God is always present. I'm not psychic and I don't hear his physical voice in my head, but I do see it in my life working all the time. Obviously, through my art, I feel like it's gifted me the ability to express something that I myself don't understand. I enjoy it. Others enjoy it. I can make a living from it. I can make people happy through it. It's my activism in a non political fighting style of way. So, yeah, I think everything is success. Like where you're at, you're successful at where you're at. You could call in more success. I could be like, I want to make this toy happen this year. It's going to cost me a lot of money to invest and to make it. And maybe if I sell enough, I'll make my money back. And technically, that's a successful project. But even if I only did one and I wasted a bunch of money, but I end up with one toy that makes me happy, that's also success. So I make it up as I go. And if it feels good, it feels good, and that's success. And if I'm trying my best, I'm gonna go easy on myself. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you didn't get this goal, or that. It's like sometimes it's just not meant to be. I think if I was like more popular or well known than I am, I would be even more overwhelmed and more busy and more stressed out because now everybody wants my attention. If anything, maybe I went too far, and I don't know. I am where I'm at, and I'm grateful for it all, and I consider it all success. And there's so many blessings in my life I'm grateful for, and I could want more. And there's nothing bad in continually growing and wanting new levels of expression and achievement. That's part of being a human, and I'm not gonna judge it and be like, oh no, just gonna like be poor and disempowered because that's the spiritual way. Spiritual is whatever. Spiritual is like your spirit and you do as you want. I would even say like there's tons of negative spiritual ways of being, dark magic, and people who like connect to their spiritual being, but it's the dark side of the force, and then they use that power to successfully dominate over others. I would say the whole Illuminati movement is this group of people who have secret mystic knowledge, but they're using it for the bad and keeping humanity under their hypnotic spell and keeping us as, entrapped slaves that disempowered in our spiritual abilities. But that time is coming to an end. We're all waking up. May you want to do your spiritual work or not, you're in it. This world doesn't call for like, oh, I'm just gonna play video games and put my head under. Like, even if you did that, you would still face some degree of depression. That it's like, okay, buddy, you got to deal with this, and overcome it, or if not, just unplug from the matrix. And I don't want anybody to suicide, but like, that's kind of like your options: either like grow and become a better version of yourself, or just be complacent and feel depressed about this opportunity that you've been given and just continually wasting it, which I think a lot of people do. But I'm not judging them. Like, that's where they're at, and I'm not perfect by far, and I do mistakes constantly, and I try to like go easy on myself and forgive myself and move forward and then learn the lesson and do better in the future. And I think that's the beauty of getting older, is that you went through a lot of your mistakes. So now when I make a new mistake, at least I'm quicker at recognizing it and be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that, or I was impulsive once again. Chris, you're impulsive. Don't be impulsive. Hold back. Observe. You don't have to say anything to anybody or do anything. You don't have to do anything for anybody. Like, everybody's like saying like, you have to do this, you have to say that. It's like when you're public, the public will sometimes make some demands, and I just got to stand in my ground of like, hey, I'm a good happy artist doing his best, serving some art. If you want more, if you want me to be like, I don't know, somebody who goes out there and fights cops for the rights of this and that, like, that's cool that you want that, and go ahead. That's great if you want that role. I appreciate you, but that's not me anymore. I've had that stage in my 20s, and I saw that that was not sustainable to do for the rest of my life. So now my service is more spiritual, starting with myself, trying to get my vibration higher and be a good person, emanate that into the code of the world. And my personal belief is we're going to change the world if we all You know,
Volunteer.
like, yes, unite, but we're gonna unite when we do our spiritual work, when we go back to love, when we have an expansive energy that's not divisive or separation or this or that. Like, it's like, okay, I love you even if you are this political party, or if you do have different beliefs than me, or if you are a different religion, I will still love you because I see you as the oneness of God in us all. So if we can all get to that place, I think the world would be a better place. But I would tell you a lot of people disagree with that.
And like we are talking about, it's okay if they disagree with that, and we are just honor where they are at, right? And then we move forward. And one
Nothing
thing,
to me. That's their life.
yeah, exactly. That's why we have free will, and that's why we can respect one another. And one thing that I would like to ask you, what would be your inspiration for those who believe that they are not capable or they are struggling with a certain belief system to experience life through what they love, like artists, right? So I've been interacting with some artists, and they do believe that, okay, I cannot survive through my art, I cannot survive through music. What would be your inspiration for those people that they think that they cannot survive, like paying bill, practicing what they love?
Well, I can tell you what the right answer, the right spiritual answer to that question is, and then I can give you my honest opinion. The right spiritual answer is like, believe in yourself, believe that you can do it, go out there and do it, and you'll succeed simply because you believe it. But I've seen people who believe it and they have not succeeded. That also happens. All the options are there in this video game, and why they don't succeed even though they believe so hard, I don't know. Maybe the economy is collapsing and people like say, like, I'm a very successful artist that's done many great things and achieved a lot. And even I these days, I'm like, where's those jobs? Because whenever I stressed out about the economy collapsing, people fighting on the streets, wars starting all over the place, Babylon system, just putting tons of cages over us. I believe that that's the best time to call in the artists, the musicians, the poets, the people who are channeling spiritual energy through them, so we can change the code of society, paint the walls, create the music, celebrate, put vibes out. That's my personal belief. But the world's not there yet. The world, or a lot of people, are in the state of like fear, contraction. Maybe this is not the best month to like hire Chris to do a psychedelic in my backyard if I'm about to lose my job. Totally understandable. Like, people will be where they'll be, and I can't control the world. Like, I would love to believe that my belief just overrides everybody else's beliefs, and I get to get what I want. But this reality is a collective group vote of beliefs and vibrations. And if every single person in my block is believing the contrary of what I believe, it might override mine. So I just gotta kind of like accept and surrender where the collective vibrational vote is happening, cruise through it to the best of my abilities. God has my back either way. He won't drop me. He won't leave me without a home, without food, without the blessings that I already have. Maybe he wants to move me out of my comfortable position. Maybe, Chris, you're stuck to the old world of materialism and material possessions and homes and mortgages and Babylon system. Maybe I'm going to have to force you to be broke so that you cash up your Babylon chips and go out in nature and start a community where you're growing your own food. Maybe that's what God wants from me, and he will give it to me by making my art business fail. And if that happens, I don't want to be bummed. Obviously, I always want to get what I want to get. I'm a Pisces, but I will also surrender to whatever is, and I'll make the most out of it. And at the end of the road, I'll probably be like, oh, that was such a blessing. Like when I left Canada, I didn't want to leave Canada. I had my home there, and I had to like pack all my things, put it in a room, and jump into the States because I just didn't want to go along with the Babylon system injections of 2021. And I do not regret it. Like I kind of like threw my life in the garbage so I wouldn't get this thing that I want to get. not even knowing 100%, like if it was good or bad, like you have beliefs, but at the end of the day, you don't really know. So I'm living my life and even throwing it in the garbage all because of beliefs. But if I believe something honestly, I gotta just like keep to like what I think is right. So the universe has always proved me that when I do that, even though it seems illogical, it will hold me and take care of me. So say when I moved to Denver and then Florida after that Canadian episode where I was just trying to get away from what I felt oppressive from my government, I got to Colorado and I sold out my Galactic Gang NFT collection. And all of a sudden, I was very well sustained and it allowed me to go to the next chapter of my life. So
Beautiful.
blessings grew from gambling and doing what felt correct in my heart. I will always try my best to do what I feel is correct in my heart. And if the universe wants to push me out yet again from this paradise I've created for myself, I will take it with honor and know that God just wants the best for me and for the world. And like, sure, I could succeed at the game of being a human and making money and having a cool house and objects or whatever. I don't care that much. I like to collect toys and vinyl, but I'm trying to judge myself for it. I just like culture because I'm a culture maker and I feed out other people's culture. And that's just soul expressing through physicality. So I'm not trying to like condemn it neither. But even if all that was removed and I ended up with nothing once again, I'll just be like, well, that's what, that's what I'm here to experience and learn at this time. Either way, I'm, a spirit in eternity, infinity playing a video game and I shouldn't like take it too seriously. So I just, the spiritual connection or belief helps me like cope with this world of uncertainty that keeps on changing.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for once and again sharing this wisdom with us. And as we are getting to the end of our podcast today, I would love to ask you if there is anything that I did not ask you and you'd like to share with all of us at this time.
I could share anything you want. I got so many things to say about a number of topics. You just gotta like put me in some direction. If you want me to plug my stuff, I can too. Maybe this is a chance. I'll
Whatever
just mention that my name is Chris Dyer. I'm an artist. I got a clothing brand called Positive Creations. I got a number of projects, including the Galactic Gang NFT project. I am doing a bunch of retreats this year. I'm doing one in what?
chips, Egypt is going to be one of them, right?
Yes. I'll be in Egypt in September with one of my best friends, Julia, who's an amazing psychic. We're gonna go do all this mystical activities. I'm also going to be in Iceland in August for the Eclipse Festival. I'm also going to be in Poland in May for some art show. Where else am I going? I'm doing a retreat in Ecuador next January. That's still a little whiles away. Where else? What else am I doing? I'm going to be part of some kind of DMT activation in the Virgin Islands, DMTX, which is basically intramuscular or like injected at DMT, where they keep you on the other side of reality past the 15 minutes that you would do it if you were to smoke it. So that's like a professional legal clinic that is opening in an island in the Virgin Islands where a friend of mine got a permit and he wants me to go there and become an art integration facilitator for the people who would go and do a retreat there or an immersion as the people organizing asked me to call it. But so I'm doing all these activities all over the place. It's
And
really exciting. I'm happy to like get together with community and always be of service and keep on evolving and growing and expanding while we welcome this beautiful new golden age that I'm hoping it comes here in like 5 years or less. Let's see. It seems like everything has to like collapse first and it seems like it might be a bumpy ride. It already is. And, just gotta be a badass motherfucker and just keep on pushing forward and not let it destroy you and just keep on serving and holding space for others who perhaps have less tools than oneself in this process.
Awesome. And we're all going to put all of the links and all of the projects that Chris is going through on it. And if you would like to connect with him, please just go ahead, reach out, and just show him your interest on being part of his projects. And as I know him, it's very valuable. Please just go ahead and connect. And just to close this, please, one message that you'd like to put out of the word. And that message could be like one word or a phrase that is going to be displaced on outdoors, screens, cell phones at that moment. What would be your message?
Well, if I only got like a word or a sentence, I would just go back to the golden rule: do unto others. We're all the same being in different bodies. What you do to others, what you're doing to yourself. So connect from love and be loving and good and kind to others, even if they offer a different reflection that you would prefer. Um, yeah, just do unto others.
Beautiful. And once and again, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. And for you that are listening to us, stay tuned for the next episode. And for now, thank you so much and namaste.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate talking to you and I wish you the best in all your projects.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.